I'm planting peas. These are telephone, an old French heirloom variety with an interesting story behind them. Doesn't actually take the name from telephone as invented by Alexander Graham Bell, I think. No, these take the name from what gave that its name, which is this effect that they witnessed when giving people electroshock therapy. When they were shocking people, back then they didn't used to anaesthetise them first, and they used to scream, and as they screamed, that would travel down electric wire, and obviously that's what gave people idea to start messing with about making telephones. And that's what it says on Real Seed catalogue website. Anyway, it might be a load of bollocks, you never know. Although they were a good company, really good company, family run, I believe. It's good stuff. I'd recommend them. I'll put a link in below bar. So yeah, let's get to it. So this is soil or growing medium if you want to get technical. It's nice fine stuff. It's a sure start. Seed and cuttings compost. We're going to get Johnny Niss #1, which is another great one, but they only did 11 litre bags, and this is a 20, which cost about the same, so you know, you've got to save money. And as I say, it's nice. I mean, with peas it's not so much of an issue because it's a big seed, it's a dried pea, but with other things they do like it nice and fine. Obviously, you know, you get what you pay for, and some cheaper things it's really coarse and like fibrous, and you don't really know what they've been using. And I've also got it sometimes and it hasn't been very sterile, so you'll get like, it's basically growing in. I remember one year a little birch trees growing in my plant pots. But yeah, as I said, this is pea. Now, main key thing with growing peas is to not get that soil too damp, too moist. Getting to sound a bit rude, but yeah, most things you're gonna plant your seeds and you're gonna try and get that soil nice and wet, so they'll obviously not dry out, because drying out's the main thing that'll kill off little seedlings. But with peas it rots. They'll swell up to being like a normal pea again, you know, moisture will go back into them and then they'll start rotting. So you want to err on the side of dryness. You know, if it's choice between one or other, always go for too dry, because I've grown them in pretty much dry soil and they've done well. In this case I've filled up this thing so it'll slowly absorb into pots. I have given them a bit of water, but as you can see it's not exactly damp. Just put your pea in. Now I'm sure some people will be like, oh, how deep do you plant it then? You know, just push it in. it don't really matter in most cases. They say you should give a seed about depth as it is big. So like this wants to be planted about, it's like a quarter of an inch. It don't really matter. I mean, there's a lot of tolerance when you're doing stuff like this. It's not like fine mechanics. You know, if obviously if you plant it too shallow, it's going to pull its centre surface and it's not going to grow. If you plant it too deep, it's going to exhaust its stem before it gets any sunlight. But other than that, you know, you can be quite blasé about it. One thing that is important though is making sure you get good soil contact and no air pockets, which I'm doing now. Just push it in. There's not much to it, as I say. Bury it, and that's it, really. In true Blue Peter fashion, here's some I prepared earlier. I've actually grown them in 3 stages. You know, these are just latest. These came before that, and before that are ones that are already in. Successional sowing is good when you're doing it on a sort of garden scale, because you don't want to glut. I mean, it's not too bad with peas because you can very easily freeze them. You know, just blanch them in water, boil them, that is, and stick them in a bag, stick them in the freezer, and no trouble. It's good. And that's another thing about heirloom varieties. You know, these are backyard producers. A lot of stuff that you're getting from supermarket in these little picture packets, that's just like sort of surplus to you know, big agriculture, industrial agriculture, and it is bred with very specific very specific requirements that, you know, people are growing stuff in the back garden don't really want. You know, you don't want a glutter produce. And you know, I've heard stories of like peas that are like leafless and the reason for that is obviously when they're harvesting them using machinery, they don't want all this stuff getting snarled up in it. Is snarl a word outside South Yorkshire? I don't know, but yeah. So they obviously have bred them to be like that, but that does decrease number of peas that you get on a plant, and probably also makes them more susceptible to, like, it's just not natural, is it? But but yeah, you know, it's good to grow heirloom. and obviously you also, with a lot of things, you know, you're getting organic. You're not having to worry about what's been like sprayed on them and genetic engineering and all that stuff that I don't really understand, but sounds quite sinister. So yeah, these are, as I said, second lot, and I'll just go and show you a third lot now. So this is final position. I've got this pea netting again from Wilkinson's. It's a bugger to put up, and I think I've done well to get it like this, even if it looks a bit shabby. Just put these metal posts in, and then held it on with tie wraps. You know, with taut, it's looking well. Not so much on that side. For some reason, it just didn't go too well. But here's as I said, original batch. You could say I've held it down at corners with stones, and they're doing really well. I have kind of like interwoven with this meshing, but they've got these little tendrils, I think they call them, that do the job, and they really will cling to this well. You know, they'll produce hundreds of these, and sort of like ivy and plants like that. You put your plant, you dig an hole, you put your plant into it. It's starting to rain, so I best make this quick. And then obviously, you know, text from there. You want to, again, soil contact. When you've got it in compost and you put it into soil, you want to make sure this soil is like well pressed down. You want to water it, which will also help, you know, level soil down and make sure there's no air pockets. And so far I've got 5 plants in. I can fit another 3 there, and then I'll fit another 8 here, and that'll be it. That should give me plenty. I've grown less than that before, and I've ended up with loads of peas. In fact, here I've got last year's. I wanted to reuse this pea netting because it is about £2 a roll, but I didn't really fancy untangling all that. I don't even know what I'm going to do with that. I think I'm just going to use it at the bottom of my compost heap to create like a bit of drainage, because it's not rotted down too well. Some pods on it here, they're a bit slimy. See, dried peas. I've always wanted to dry them myself, and like obviously do that for saving them for seeds, but also just to have dried peas. You know, it's the way it was done before tin canning were invented. Here's my rhubarb. It's doing better than it did last year, and last year it did better than it did the year before that. So I think I'm winning battle here, if not the war. It's overgrown, but rhubarb's one of the great survivors. You know, you can leave it just to its own devices for years, and it'll produce these stems. Look at that, it's doing really well. So yeah, if you've got this far, congratulations, thanks for watching, and goodbye.